I think that's one of the reasons I could not stay with it. I just was looking at it and like, this looks cheap as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it because every episode's somewhere different. They don't have the luxury. I mean, they have the TARDIS, of course, but they don't have the luxury of.
Yeah, that's kind of baked in. It's the understanding that they're always going to be in a different time or space.
Yeah, I watch it for the characters, man. Eccleston. I don't know if you ever watch Eccleston's season, but there's this episode where he's like, just this once, everyone lives.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just so excited that no one died. And I just thought it was such a moving moment as far as Eccleston. He should have been the Phantom.
I remember when Eccleston was like rumored to be the new Joker, and this was years ago. This was like pre Heath Ledger, I think.
Oh,
So weird. There were some weird names at the time that were tossed around for Joker, before it went to Heath.
all right. And do you remember any others?
Yes, I do. I do actually.
I want to know this now.
I want to say I'll probably butcher his name, but I believe his name is Lockie Whom, and I will try to spell that. Let's see here. Okay, so it's Lachy, and that's Whom, Hulme. He's Australian. And yeah, for whatever reason, his name kept getting peddled around all over the place.
That guy's a good publicist.
Yeah, well, that or the fan casting rumor mill just was rabid at the time. But yeah, for some reason, he's kept making the rounds on the fan cast circuit. So I don't know how much truth there was to that. It sounds to me like, when you hear those conversations with Nolan, it's like, oh, we always had this in mind, blah, blah, blah. So who knows?
I do want to talk about something before we get going. One of my favorite scenes in this is when Christy Swanson's tied up and Catherine Zeta-Jones takes off her boots and goes, ooh, Fifth Avenue.
Same size.
Yeah, and then Christy Swanson goes, no, they're not fancy. And then they are really fancy. And then Zeta-Jones just probably, I believe she steals them. She steals her boots.
I think she takes them because they're the same size, yeah.
Isn't that a funny scene? I love her character in this movie. She's stuck carrying, so she takes down a plane, kidnaps her, then she has to carry her around. And then she cracks a dude right in the balls, and she's like, we gotta stick together. And then she hits another dude in the balls, and then she saves the day by netting some people, and then she flies away. Man.
She's a very uninhibited character. If you recall, the very first thing she does seeing the Phantom, is that she just completely plants one on him. She doesn't even say anything. She's just like, oh, this guy's banging. And that's her intro.
That's just quite the smooch. And then she calls it too. She says the Phantom loves her. Why? Because, he obviously didn't fall for me. He
could have had her. Yeah, he could have had her.
And I love what Treat Williams, he actually agrees with her. And he goes, yeah,
Sure.
it's probably a lapse in judgment. And then I also like about Treat Williams is whenever Remar fails, he never kills him.
He never kills him. He almost killed him at one time.
Yeah, but at the end, he lights him up by accident. He's a little shocked about it. But
I think he knows his value. He knows his worth as a goon.
Yeah, in many movies, though, when the number one goon fails, they get shot. And this is a character who could have done that. And I like that he just sort of went, yeah, I get it. It's fine. You guys didn't do it, but the shadow was there. It's all good. We're in New York. He's not going to come here. So it's a weird, it's a guy who blinds someone, a librarian, which is cruel, spears people, but then when his people mess up, he's like, yeah, I get it.
Do you think the librarian died?
I don't think.
I would think so, because you're talking about blades going that close to the brain, or just bleeding out your orbitals.
I mean, he's not going to send him out there to have him tell the police that he did it.
That's my point. Like, there's no way he lives after that.
Yeah, they probably blinded him, and then he pointed at a couple of his guards, like Vinny and Alexei, and then they just shot him and fed him to the fishes.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, and also, I love a good cheap tree gag, where the Phantom runs a guy into a tree and the tree moves.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
I love that part. All right, now, and at the end when Treat Williams I'd say 2/3 in, when he gets the second skull, the power that the two skulls have is to destroy beautiful plate glass windows.
Right. Well, I think it was Kit, right? We didn't mention him by name yet, but Kit destroys the exhibit glass, and then the two skulls pinpoint the destination for the third? Is that what's happening?
Oh,
I think that's what happens. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
so
shot.
Kit goes after the glass, and then Treat Williams has his moment of glee with the two skulls as it pinpoints on the map, right? And it burns like a hole in it.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it was like really just textbook overacting, which, fit the character.
Now, so I'm gonna drop something on you here, but I polled the MFF podcast contributors. I asked them, what are your favorite 1990s movies based on comic books?
Uh-huh.
And do you want to hear the top 5 most mentioned?
I think I do. Hopefully they're not bad choices.
All right. The most mentioned was Batman Returns.
Good. Perfect. Yes.
Second was Men in Black.
Okay.
The third was Mystery Men.
Oh.
Fourth is Blade.
Okay.
And the fifth is The Crow. That's
fine. I'm a little perturbed by the whole Mystery Men inclusion, though.
I mean, I guess it's really not. It's an original, correct?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything to disqualify it necessarily. I just, beyond being slightly ahead of its time with the post-modern superhero commentary on the genre's fatigue, I wouldn't call it a great movie, but that's just me.
And The Rocketeer was the next one after it, so that'll make you happy.
Perfect.
But we did right. Our MFF contributors put Batman Returns as the best 1990s superhero movie.
Into it.
Now, another question. I got a question, and I got a question on Movies, Films, and Flicks, our Facebook page, and someone asked, this was from David Cross. You and I both went to school with David Cross.
Mm-hmm.
So David Cross asked, who wins, the Rocketeer, the Shadow, or the Phantom in a fight?
Well, I think we'd agree that the Rocketeer is cool as hell, and he's better than everybody, but he's not gonna match up too well in a fight, I feel like, especially against people who have mystical powers. Phantom's good at punching, and he can die. I'm not super familiar with all that the Shadow can do and can't do, but I'm going to go ahead and say in a matchup with both guys using two guns, because they do, Shadow and Phantom both use two guns, and the Rocketeer only uses one, I'm going to probably put my money on the Shadow.
Yeah, I'm Shadow all day. Good laugh, Baldwin.
The laugh is what he has going for him. Yeah, I would give him that. And, the temper of Alec Baldwin, which we know is pretty terrifying. Yeah,
the Rocketeer, he would just fly in, get shot. Phantom is just, he doesn't want to kill anybody. He doesn't kill people, really. So, no, he does. That guy dives into the sharks, but he lets him dive into the sharks. So is that killing somebody?
There's a gray moral area where Batman sort of sits too. I don't know if it's something you could take to the bank, but his moral code is mostly righteous.
Technically, I didn't kill him. The sharks did. Yeah?
Yeah.
And those sharks are tiny, but they destroyed that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we were talking about doing the Shadow, but we're not doing that, right? That's too much. We're moving on to the Wachowskis next.
Oh, yeah, I would like that.
What are we going to do, Cloud Atlas first or Speed Racer?
I don't care. Either one. I would love to talk about either.
Let's do Speed Racer. Because I want to spend a lot of time with Cloud Atlas. That's going to be daunting.
Yeah, that's going to take some time, yeah.
And I guess this is a blessing and a curse, but there's no commentaries on the Blu-rays, which means I would have to listen to all of them if there were. So I don't have to now, but that also would give me great nuggets of knowledge about these movies they're underappreciated, would you say?
Oh, vastly. I think if there are a lot of movies that are known to be underrated, and I don't know if the Wachowskis, these two especially, I don't know if they've reached that level yet of public awareness for underrated.
I'm with you. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. Any final thoughts about this movie?
I don't know if it held up as well as I thought it would. It's leaner than I remembered it being, which is a good thing. But yeah, it doesn't have the same lasting appeal, I think, as something like The Rocketeer. So I don't know if I could put them in the same group in terms of zeitgeist and genre maybe, but in terms of quality, The Rocketeer, I think, stands alone.
Would you say it's more of a grizzled scallywag or a peg-legged Pete?
It's definitely a peg-legged Pete.
Another question. At the end, when Shang Tsung is fighting... I forgot the character.
Right.
Yeah, when he is fighting the Phantom is sword fighting with one of his cronies. And the guy could easily stab and kill the Phantom because the Phantom's arm is up, but instead he kills his crony saying mine.
Yes, he's very prideful. He wants to kill the Phantom because I guess we don't know if that version of Kabai Sang or his father killed the Phantom's father, but there's clearly like a family war going on that has nothing to do with the mafia.
I love it. And then I think that's about it, man. We don't need to talk about Jimmy the Baxter, do we? Who just drinks martinis and randomly kisses Chrissy Swanson.
Who the hell is that? Oh, that dude. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if his presence warrants a conversation, but he's just your classic sleaze.
I do love the line, though, where Swanson was up in the Arctic doing an article up there. And Jimmy's like, I thought about coming up there, visiting you and taking you to a hotel and warming you up. She's like, why didn't you? He's like, well, I had a hot gin, a gin fizz, and I just forgot about it.
Yeah, that guy sounds like a man of the 2019s.
Yeah, but in 38.
Right. Like, babe, you coming over tonight? And I just, nah.
It did make me want to have like a gin fizz, though.
I don't know if I've ever had one.
Maybe a gin, whatever. Juniper berries, they're good. They're nice. All right, I'm trailing off, but that's what we do here. Wait, what's the best gin drinking in a movie? No, I'm not going to do that to you. Probably Casablanca. Easily Casablanca.
Yeah, I think that one's definitely on its own planet.
Now, there is a TV show called Unlisted where this woman brought shots for people, and the people drank the shots, then they all had weird looks on their face, and she's like, gin! And it gets you every time. So gin shots if you want to surprise people.
Or scotchkas if you're in the room.
Or what?
So, God, this is its own pod, but in the room, Tommy Wiseau's The Room, Lisa comes out with shots of something. We just see her pour something in a glass, but it's not clear. So we're not sure if it's what. And they've just been known as scotchkas because it looks like scotch, but I think what she looked like she was pouring might have been vodka. The jury's still out, but we call them scotchkas.
So it's like a lighter, like an iced tea looking scotch?
I guess. Like I said, that may be its own pod.
We should analyze. You know what? We'll talk about this during during Speed Racer. I mean, Tommy Wiseau's The Room, Speed Racer, same thing.
Yeah, that sounds perfectly relevant.
Well, I appreciate you joining me for this movie, man, because I remember loving this movie in '96. I went and saw it. It wasn't playing in any theaters near us, so we had to drive to Clearwater to go see it at a kind of a theater, but it was pretty packed, and it just brought back good because I haven't watched it since theaters. So I was glad to do it, man. So I'm glad you brought this movie up, so we should do it.
Yeah, totally. I'm glad I got to revisit it.
All right. Cool. So, any plugs? You see anything good lately? Anything you want to say before we get out of here? Any recommendations?
I got nothing to plug. I don't have a SoundCloud, so y'all are all right.
I'm going for. Oh, wait. Weren't you a rapper for a while, and your name was what, Knock Knock? But then You're the Worst stole it. Didn't you start mumble rapping? Oh,
like mumblecore rap?
Yeah.
I didn't start it. I guess I could look into. I guess I could look into it.
Now, those who are the brothers that do that used to do a lot of mumble movies?
Oh, not the Duffer Brothers, but no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I know. God, I can't remember their stupid names.
Oh man, yeah, he was in Safety Not Guaranteed. Mark
Duffer. No, not Duffer. It's not the Duffer Brothers.
Mark the Duplass Brothers.
Duplass Brothers. Thank you. I was close.
You would do raps about their mumble raps about their mumble films.
Yes, please tell me more about the fictional rap career that I completely forgot I had.
You know that I wrote an article called Yeti. Well, so I came up with a movie called Yeti 2 Cold Snap, Schmitzky's Nissan. And it's about these car dealers in Florida. And this one guy, his dad's rich. He has a bunch of car dealerships, Hyundai, big in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And his girlfriend is a arena football cheerleader. And she's a big fan of the Duplass Brothers movies. And he gets really jealous. So he doesn't watch any of the Duplass pictures, but he decides he's going to make his own mumble movie. But he likes the movie Yeti, so he decides to make a sequel to it and call it Yeti 2 Cold Snap, Schmitzky's Nissan, because his dad's paying for it. And it's basically just about this Yeti who came back with this woman to live in the real world. And you know, he has no skills per se, and he just kind of becomes a salesman, and he just kind of has a real dud of a life. And he just sort of drives around mumbling. And the movie becomes a big hit, but they get sued because it's called Yeti 2.